Hold on one second.
I'm here.
Bye. Okay. Hi, David. You're there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me repeat this. David Wilcock has received a death threat. I've asked him to come on my show at the last minute here after I just got a notice myself about it. We have contacted the necessary people to protect him, and they are going to be doing that. But I also am asking the listening audience to surround him with white light and protection. And if you have any means to address this situation from multiple of angles, please do so. And so, go ahead, David, and tell your story, and let's deal with this. It's okay. Let's just take it one step at a time. And I just want to say that you are beloved by many, many people out there, and I have contacted a very important person who can definitely come to your aid in every way. So do not worry. Whatever can be done will be done on your behalf. And I have to say, I've seen the future, and you're going to be fine.
Well, I appreciate that. So I've been covering this Fulford story, and I released information about something that is much more secret than UFOs. I was called today after I put this online, and one of them said, "Do you like David Wilcock?" That was how he started the conversation. Both of these people basically said the same thing, which is that I need to get part 2 of the article out tonight. They wouldn't go into detail, but I was told that if I was tortured, that would be lucky. I wouldn't make it. But that if I get through the next 3 days, that I'll probably be okay. I would be much safer if I could get this information out tonight, because I was led to believe that if someone is going to come and talk to me and give me the gun or the money game where they try to buy me out or threaten me with death, and maybe narco-hypnosis or something like that, mind control kind of things, I don't know. But that basically all I have before that team could show up here is tonight. I'm sorry for crying.
No, David, we're with you, and really, you are surrounded by incredible light, and you are so loved. The word is getting out. Believe me, this situation will be handled from so many different directions. Hang in there and just stay with us and talk to us about not only this, but what the story is that you're being told to keep to get out there. You've got this forum right here. We've got radio stations. I'm sure that we're going to get some simulcasts out there hooked up. Anyone who knows anyone who's a broadcaster in radio, what matters here is that you keep it together and that you are able to tell us the story, because this is going to protect you. The truth.
Okay.
Putting it out there, this is what's going to protect you. Okay? Once it's out there, they can't touch you. It's in the public domain. So let's get it out there.
All right. I'll pull it together. Fulford has never... Okay. I guess... Okay, the context. This is what I now know. I have been in I've been in touch with Benjamin Fulford. He came out on the scene in 2007, as we all know. And what he ultimately has been saying is that there's an alliance of 117 nations, and those nations are aligned against the Illuminati, which, if you don't know, is the secret political leadership of the G5 countries, and not a whole lot else anymore. They were running a lot of other countries by proxy. They were having puppet dictators running a lot of these countries in the Middle East and in Africa. And those countries are now claiming back their sovereignty. And the tip of the spear of what they have been planning to blow this whole thing open is a lawsuit. Fulford has been talking about this lawsuit on his website for at least a year and a half. The website was published. It was filed. Fulford said it would be filed on November 15th. It was filed on November 23rd. It's 111 pages long. It's incredibly intricate. I downloaded it when it first showed up. I thought it was bullshit when it first showed up because they quoted from Wikipedia regarding the Davos World Economic Forum. I wrote a long missive on Benjamin Fulford's website saying that I thought this thing was bullshit. After that, the people who were responsible for filing the lawsuit contacted me personally. We began a relationship which has led to an extensive amount of contact. They have sent me over 500 photographs. They have sent me dozens of documents. These documents apparently have put a bounty on my head. I now have seen the Book of Maklumat, the Book of Codes. I have seen the exact documentation that will bring these people down. It's in my possession. I am soon going to be getting it, very soon going to be getting it to other people who already have the Wilcock file. You people know who you are. Please do not inspect the file. Only go with Category 1 distribution if something happens to me. If you look in the revealing folder, I have a list of criteria. Do not release Category 2 unless the criteria of the revealing folder are met. At least 3 of the points in that folder must be met before you release Category 2. But Category 1 would only occur if I am killed. Okay, if you don't hear from me in 3 or 4 days, then go ahead and put it out there. In addition to that, if I put out a code phrase, as you guys know, because it's in the revealing folder, and that code phrase says that if you see that in my next update, then you have to go with distribution plan 1. And that's all in the folder. Okay, so this is what we need to do. This is the plan that I put in place. I never expected I would need to use this. Kerry, you know I told you I recorded everything. It's a betrayal, but I recorded everything that happened when I was on the phone with Henry Deacon. I told him this when he was out here. That's part of what's in that file. There's a lot of other very juicy things in that file. Don't make me do this, please, okay? I mean, okay, I gotta calm down. So, these people, here's the story. Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, 1700s, wrote this document in which he said that if countries hold gold, that they are a risk to the world. This is the basis of what everything else that follows in the story comes from. Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations. The argument was that the people who hold the gold could take it out of one country and move it to another, that therefore a country's national sovereignty is at risk if they have gold. Any one country that is on the gold standard or any precious metal standard is a risk to the rest of the world. They become a detriment to the world. The argument was that the gold has to be kept off of the market, kept out of the international market. This is the biggest secret. The gold had to be confiscated so that originally the idea was that wealth would be created in proportion to the amount of wealth that the people of that nation are creating. In other words, the country issues fiat currency against the wealth created by their nation. The problem was if you have a gold standard and you have people being born and they make more things and they create more wealth, there's no more extra gold, and so the price of money goes up, which means if people have money, it becomes worth less and less and less, and it destroys the country. So ultimately, you have to eliminate the gold standard in order to prevent against inflation, like you saw in Weimar Republic Germany, where people have money in a wheelbarrow to buy a loaf of bread. And this plan moved forward with the British Empire, secretly run by the Rothschilds, working as a proxy where they knew that 85% of the world's gold was contained in Asia. The reason why it was in Asia was that the people of the world, including the Roman Empire and the Spaniards much later, were taking all the gold in the world and they were using that gold to pay for things that were coming from China, Asia, Indonesia, including things like spices, that were very exotic and unavailable anywhere else, ceramics such as fine silks with beautiful patterns and colors, very fine china and pottery, these elaborate vases that had gold leaf painting on them of dragons and things like this. People wanted this stuff. It was way better quality than anything else in the world, and they paid for it in gold. And somehow, because China had really good stuff, they ended up with most of the world's gold. Is this all clear so far, Kerry?
Well, it is as a historical, sort of history. But at this moment, I think the people are going to be confused as to why this has centered on you.
Okay. It turns out that the Rothschild/British Empire invaded Japan and used Japan to go after China. There was Emperor Hirohito in 1921 went to London and they created the Bank of International Settlements. A secret treaty was made at this time. Fulford has been given this information. He's not apparently used about 90% of the information that these people have been giving him. I don't know why, but it was given to me, and I'm trying to give it to you as fast as I can right now. In 1921, the Bank of International Settlements was created. They created a plan, a very secret plan, in which all the gold in the world would be confiscated and put under deposit secretly. That did occur. It occurred through Hirohito and his Japanese army in a plan called Golden Lily, where they invaded China and they plundered the gold out of China. First, they came in with bandits. The bandits robbed them of the gold, killed people. Then the Japanese army comes in and says, "Oh, you got a bandit problem, we'll save you." When in fact it's two sides of the same coin. The gold was stored in various locations. Now here's the important part. There are 2 million tons of gold on deposit held by the Bank of International Settlements and the Federal Reserve. Secretly, the countries of the world have this money on deposit. The amount of money in actual terms of the spot value of gold, based on my calculation of the spot price of gold as of 4 days ago, the amount of money that they actually have is $11 million trillion. Everything you think you've been told about how gold is scarce is not true. This is the biggest secret. This is what people are shitting their pants, and they do not want me to talk about this because nobody expected this was going to make it out into the open. And that's what's happening right now. That's the secret. That's the story. The story is that through the threat that led up to World War II, much of the gold in the world was plundered. It was plundered in the U.S. because they made it illegal to own gold. If you had gold, they took it out of your safe deposit box. The Jews were robbed of their gold. They had much of the gold in Europe. So we'll talk more about that after the break, I guess.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American.
It's practically narcotic.
Freedom.
Oh, yes, I like very much.
Radio.
You're an American institution.
American Freedom Radio.
Now I've been crying.
Okay, this is Kerry Cassidy, Sergeant Hemlock, Whistleblower Radio. We are having a very unusual show at this point. I've got Maxine Taylor, I believe, who's going to be on the line with us, and she is an astrologer as well as, I will say, an intuitive, and so I don't think it's a bad thing that she's actually here, although we're not going to be able to talk about what we were planning on talking about. We've got David Wilcock, who has received a death threat, and it's very serious. From what I understand, David, are you still with me?
Yes.
You've got on divinecosmos.com, you have written part one of a communique to the people about a situation with regard to a lawsuit and gold. And he's been explaining the situation because of what he wrote, from what I understand, and because of some association with Benjamin Fulford. He has received a very serious death threat. We are in the process of bringing on somebody else on this show who is going to address the situation from, let us say, a more strategic viewpoint. And that person will be known as anonymous when they come on the air. Okay, David, would you continue to describe the situation?
Okay. The last 3 weeks have been amazing. These people have welcomed me into their trust. In 1938, there was gold, 7 giant U.S. battleships worth of gold that was held by the Asians, that was shipped to the U.S., that was put on deposit secretly with the Federal Reserve, and bonds were issued in exchange for this money. There was supposed to be a plan in Bretton Woods that the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 is when, after World War II, all of this gold confiscation was complete. One insider told me that he toured a facility personally in which you walk down a hall. It's a mile long. There are doors on either side of the hall. Each of those doors leads into a room the size of a basketball gymnasium, in which there are gold bullion bars in bricks stacked floor to ceiling. I was told by another insider that gold is actually more plentiful than sand. I mean, they're kind of kidding, but the point is that if you go on Wikipedia, it will say there's 120,000 tons of gold that's officially recognized in the world. The actual number apparently is over 2 million tons. If you calculate what 2 million tons is worth on current spot price, it's $11 million trillion. This is the currency. This is the actual collateral that secretly backs up all of the currencies of the world. It is only an illusion that it's all fiat bubble money backed by nothing. The countries of the world needed that collateral to know that they could trust the economic systems. There is gold in Fort Knox, there is gold in other treasuries, but they are apologetically low compared to the amount that's really there. It's only a smoke and mirrors show for the public. But apparently, this plan has allowed them, what they ended up doing is they confiscated all the world's wealth so that nobody could ever rise up against the fiat bubble money system in which they just type numbers into a computer and those numbers appear as money. So that's what we're dealing with. This is how it was done. It's apparently the biggest secret there is. And they don't want you to talk about this, but it appears that, the gold is kept in underground facilities. There's sunken ships at the bottom of the Mariana Trench and elsewhere throughout Southeast Asia where this gold is being kept. There is a treasure room on the island of Taiwan, underneath the island, that was hand dug by laborers. It is 40 miles by 50 miles wide and 7 terraces deep. Apparently half of this entire room is filled with gold on one side and the precious treasures of China on the other side. Ever since the 1920s up until the late 30s, China had every ship that they had sending this gold and treasure out to Taiwan constantly. There is a very extreme amount of secrecy around all this. It is not public domain. UFOs, by comparison, is very easy to get information about. I have been researching these subjects ever since 1996 on the internet. I've had access to insiders since 2001 when I went to Dr. Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project in Washington, D.C. on May 10th, a closed executive summary briefing for members of Congress. I have never heard about this before, but I since found documentation that you can read. There's a website, it's called deepblacklies.co.uk. It is written by a man named David Guyat, G-U-Y-A-T-T. If you go to his website, it's a little bit complicated and you need to have a PC, but you can actually download for free 5 different books that he wrote. Those books include absolutely compelling documents from the Committee of 300, from the Trilateral Commission, from UBS Bank in Switzerland. They show you the codes, they show you the documentation. It's an open secret. I didn't know this was out there. It's like you have to know what questions to ask before you can open the doors. And then once I knew what questions to ask, I spoke to certain insiders, and those insiders gave me more information. And I went forward and published an article that reveals this lawsuit that Fulford and the people that contacted Fulford are filing In the lawsuit, the list of defendants includes the United Nations, the Italian Prime Minister, the head of the World Economic Forum. These are very heavy hitters. The lawsuit is for $1 trillion. And this lawsuit is the tip of the spear that drives a wedge that will actually lead to the defeat of what I lovingly call the old world order. And it all comes back to China shipping off 7 battleships worth of gold to the U.S. The Federal Reserve gave them bonds as collateral for that. The money was then put on deposit and used to underwrite the world economic system beginning in 1944 with Bretton Woods. They were promised, as a result of doing this, the Asians were promised that the money would be used for the betterment of the world, for the development of Asia and Africa. And by 1954, they realized that was not happening. They rebelled. They wanted to have change. That change eventually led to a plan that involved John Fitzgerald Kennedy and President Suharto of Indonesia. Kennedy actually issued an executive order, which is 11110, in which he was going to be able to issue silver-backed currency under his own decree, short-circuiting the Federal Reserve, and that would have created a precious metal-based currency. He was assassinated 3 days after he did this. The Asians did not have the military might to be able to mount any other effective opposition. They literally waited for about 30 years until the charter that started in 1944 for Bretton Woods expired. It expired in 1994. They sued for the changing of the Federal Reserve System and for the whole system of world economics. The people that run the Federal Reserve said no. This then led to another suit that came out in 1998, where China attempted to reclaim the gold that was now, they call it, stolen from them in 1938. It was a 60-year term that expired. The lawsuit was lost. In other words, the Federal Reserve lost a lawsuit in the secret trial that was at The Hague in the United Nations. And as a result of them losing this lawsuit, they had a settlement put on them, and they were told that they had to return the money on September 12, 2001. The money was being held under Building 7 in the World Trade Center, and obviously the day before September 12, look at what happened. We now know, we've heard that there was a gold vault under the Building 7, that it was emptied, but now with the context of Fulford and what these people are telling me, that's why that happened. Okay, nothing else happened until there was another lawsuit placed against the Federal Reserve. They did come through, they did send out gold, except that when the gold was taken in by the Chinese, it turned out that it was tungsten that was electroplated with gold on the outside. It was worthless. Since that time, the Chinese changed their strategy. This isn't really the ruling party of China. It's not the communists. It's the deposed party under Chiang Kai-shek called the Kuomintang that fled to Taiwan and Indonesia and the Philippines and elsewhere. So we need to make that clear. But anyway, to get to the story, because I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, the Federal Reserve lost. They handed this gold off to the Kuomintang. The gold was fake. The Kuomintang responded by organizing an international alliance that caused the collapsing of the dollar and many American corporations. That was the 2008 financial collapse. In the aftermath of the 2008 financial collapse, they created this TARP shit where they bailed everybody out. Nobody expected they were going to do that. It totally caught them by surprise that they created that much money out of thin air. It delayed the plans. The next part of the plans involved this China's October surprise thing. Go to my website, divinecosmos.com. You can read all about that. But now what's happened is that there's also this plan involving this lawsuit. There's 117 nations behind it. In fact, the number's now gone up to 122 from what I'm hearing. And, whatever they do to me, it's not going to change this. So you guys are barking up the wrong tree here. If you're threatening me, you're only making it worse for yourselves.
Okay, David, this person and several of the people that are interested in protecting you need to know exactly how the threats came to you.
They probably know who the insider is. This insider called me by phone earlier today. This person told me that he had been called by 2 different people. Both of these people said that I would be very wise to release part 2 tonight, that it would be much safer for me if I released it tonight, that tomorrow might be too late. I was told that if I were tortured, that I would be lucky.
Okay, but if you release it, are you not going to be tortured? Is the idea that if you release it...
Yeah, I was told that I'd be a lot safer if I got it out tonight.
And are you planning to be on this radio show? Are you planning to get it out tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you the core of it, and then the only other thing that's left that I haven't already said is question and answers with the people that are on this lawsuit. But I've basically, as fast as possible, I've summarized the whole thing for you. That's really all there is left.
Does the white hat information dovetail with this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of corollaries here. There's a lot of people that are all kind of saying the same thing. I mean, this is what's terrifying to people who are in leadership positions in the G5 countries, because they don't like where this is going. They don't like the fact that, you know, the people are going to be very pissed off when they find out that economics has been completely hijacked, that none of this economic collapse stuff ever needed to happen, and that all of the world's wealth was confiscated to be able to allow them to, what should have been actually a positive thing, and could be a positive thing if it was measured correctly, which is just to issue money based on the amount of wealth that the nations are generating. But what it turned into is this ridiculous black screen thing where they just type numbers in a computer. The only way they could do that, the only way they could take control of the planet and create as much money as they want out of thin air, is by confiscating all the actual gold that really existed. That is the biggest secret. That's the secret that it's taken me all this time to learn, that I might have given my life to learn.
My understanding is there's no way that they have it all if some of it is basically underwater in the Philippines, for one thing.
Well, it's all registered. That's the thing you got to understand. This money is all documented.
Okay, but the white hats are have been involved in this, which is their blog spot. I forget. It's something like Dark Cabal Blogspot or something .com.
Right.
But at any rate, if you want to read more about this from that perspective. Okay, we're going to a break. We've got a person that's coming on the line shortly here. David, would I know this witness?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.